Welcome. This is our study guide answers, so we'll go ahead and get started. I'm just going to read them off and we'll get the first couple here done pretty quick. Number one, classify the expression monomial, binomial, or trinomial. It's a two-term, so number one is a binomial is our answer. Okay. Next, we have give an example of a monomial that has a degree equal to 7. The degree is basically adding all the exponents for that one single term. So you could have an answer like 7x to the 7th power. Notice 7 is the degree, and that is the 7th. Or we could even do like 2x to the 3rd power, y to the 4th power. Notice 3 plus 4 is 7. So either one of those two would work. Number 3, what is the degree of the polynomial? Now this polynomial has 5, 2, and 1 in each of them. But when we talk about a polynomial, we take the highest degree, or the degree of the highest term. So x to the 5th is the highest, so we are going to say the degree of the polynomial is 5. Number 4, write the polynomial in standard form and then give the leading coefficient. Our largest exponent is 3x to the 4th. Our next largest exponent is negative 4x squared. Keep the sign with it that it has in front of it. Next is negative 5x, and then we have a negative 1. The leading coefficient is known as the term in the very front, and that term in the front is 3. So we plug in 3. Alright, those are the first 4 questions. We'll go ahead, and this is our pretty easy ones. Let's get to our next group. Number 5. Number 5, we have x squared minus 6x minus 16, and we have x equals 2. So we're going to go ahead and plug in 2 to the equation. So instead of x, we're going to get 2 squared minus 6 times 2 minus 16. 2 squared is going to give me 4 minus 6 times 2 is 12 minus 16. And I apologize, that's a negative 2. I read that problem wrong. So this is a negative 2 in here. So that's actually a positive 12. And when I square a negative 2, it actually stays 4. So sorry about that. So this is a positive 12 here. 4 plus 12 is 16. 16 minus 16 is 0. So what is the evaluation of this? It is 0. Next, number 6. Number 6, we're just adding. Okay, we have negative 5x squared plus 2x minus 8 plus 3x squared minus x plus 10. Notice I dropped the parentheses, and the reason why I did this is because parentheses don't really matter when you're adding. What matters is combining like terms. So x squared goes with an x squared. An x term goes with an x term. So when we combine like terms, we're going to get negative 5x squared plus 3x. That's going to give me a negative 2x squared. Notice when I combine like terms, it's only the coefficient, the number in front, that adds or subtracts. So negative 5 and 3 makes negative 2. The exponents don't change. 2x minus x is going to make a positive 1x. And my last thing is to take my two whole numbers. Negative 8 and positive 10 makes a positive 2. Okay. Number 7 we can do on the same page. We have negative x squared plus 10x plus 3 minus, now this is important that we have a minus here, parentheses. Notice I'm leaving the parentheses when minus has to be involved. Negative 4x squared plus 8x minus 1. The reason why the negative is so important is we have to distribute the negative into each piece. So what was once positive is now negative, and what was once negative is now positive. A negative 4x is going to become a positive 4x squared. A positive 8x is going to become a negative 8x, and a negative 1 is going to become a positive 1. Now we can go ahead and combine like terms with the blue. we get negative x squared and a positive 4x squared, which is going to leave me with my answer. Negative 1 plus 4 is 3x squared. Next, we're dealt with 10x and negative 8x. Combine like terms, and we're going to get 2x. Notice how I'm putting it in standard form, the highest degree first, and then going down. And then last but not least, we have 3 plus 1, which gives me 4. So here's my answer. Make sure you distribute the negative before you combine like terms. Alright, number 8. Number 8, we're multiplying a monomial times a polynomial. Okay, in this case, the polynomial is a binomial. When we're doing this, we just have to distribute. Okay, so we just distribute this to each piece. So when I do this, I'm going to get 4 times 1. Multiply the coefficients first. That's just going to be 4. And then when I'm multiplying my exponents as, this is going to be x to the 8th power. 4 times a negative 3 is a negative 12. X to the 5th, this is technically 1. Don't forget that. That becomes x to the 6th power. Don't forget that you have to add that. And then the y squared gets thrown on. Here we go. Number 9. Same thing here. We get negative 3x squared times 7x squared minus x plus 4. I have to go ahead and distribute yet again. Distribute into 3 things. This is a monomial into a binomial. Negative 3 times 7 is a negative 21. X squared and x squared is going to add to become x to the 4th. Negative 3 times a negative 1 is going to become a positive 3. X squared and x1 becomes x to the 3rd, adding those exponents. Negative 3 times 4 is a negative 12, x squared. Number 10, we finally get into some binomials. I'm going to set these up directly in box method. We get x minus 2 times x minus 5. X squared, or x times x is x squared. X times negative 2 is negative 2x. This is negative 5x, and negative 2 times negative 5 is a positive 10. So we first write x squared. Then we're going to combine like terms. Negative 5 and negative 2 is negative 7x, and then plus 10. Number 11. Again, I'm going to set the box up right away. We got a binomial times a binomial. And we get 4x plus 3, and we get 2x plus 9. 4 times 2 is 8. And x times x is x squared. 2 times 3 is 6x. 4 times 9 is going to give me 36x. And 9 times 3 is going to give me 27. Okay? Combine like terms. It's always the middle two. Notice here these two middle two are adding. And we're going to add these two middle two. So we get 8x squared. 6 plus 36. Everything's positive here, so everything's kind of adding. 6 plus 36 is going to give me 42x plus 27. Another binomial. Number 12. Set up the box method again. We get x plus 3. And x minus 4. X times x is x squared, 3x, negative 4x, and negative 12. Again, that diagonal is usually where we see the like terms. So we get x squared minus x, 4 is negative, 3 is positive, minus 12. Number 13. Again, we have another box method, but when I'm looking at this, I see that this is a difference of 2 squares. It's going to save me some time if I know my trick. which my trick is I know the middle terms are going to cancel, so I'm really going to just have the x squared, which is this box, and negative 64. I already know that's my answer. But we can also show you that this is negative 8x and this is 8x. These two are going to cancel each other out. That's how I'm left with x squared minus 64. Next is 14. 14 says x minus 5 squared. I'm just going to do a box, and I'm just going to do x minus 5 and then x minus 5. I get x squared, and down here I'm going to get positive 25, and then both of these are going to be negative 5x. Negative 5x. When I combine like terms, I get x squared, negative 5 and negative 5 make a negative 10x, and then we get 25. And last binomial times a binomial, we're going to go ahead and get number 15. And this is 3x times 3y, or 3x plus 3y times 3x plus 3y. Again, it's squared, so I'm just going to write it twice. 3 times 3 is going to give me 9, and then x squared. 3 times 3 is going to give me 9, and then y squared. The next one, we got to make sure we have two variables, so we're going to do alphabetical order. So 3 times 3 is 9, but then I'm going to do x then y, always in that order of the alphabet. Then we're going to do 3x times 3y, which is going to be 9xy. Notice they have the same back end, so we can actually combine those. So we get 9x squared, no one to combine with. The two middle terms combined, 9 plus 9 is 18xy. And then we do plus 9y squared. Okay. Remember, when I'm adding, my exponents don't add. So this doesn't become x squared plus y squared because we added them. It's only when I multiply. Like x times x, I got x squared. Okay, so don't get confused with those. Number 16. This one is going to require a 2 by 3 box. Where we're going to get 2x and negative 11. And up here we're going to get x squared minus 30, or negative 3x and plus 2. 2x times x squared is going to be 2x to the third. 2x times negative 3x is going to give me negative 6x squared, and then the last is going to give me 4x. Oops, not right, and there it goes. X squared times 11 is negative 11x squared. This is going to become a positive 33x, and this one's going to be a minus 22. Now we're going to combine like terms. 2x to the third has no like terms, but then we can go ahead and see that x squared and x squared are like terms. They're both negative, so they're going to add to give me a negative 17x squared. Oops. Negative 7x squared. And then again, we're going to be able to combine like terms with positive 33x and a 4x. They're both positive, so we add them together to give me 37x. And then negative 22 has no one to add with. But there's my final answer in the appropriate order. Okay? Alright, that's going to be it for this video. We'll go ahead and make another one.